Well, hello again. It's me. It's Ashley. Of course it is. You guys knew who was me. I'm going to apologize in the beginning. My daughter is in the background. I don't know what she's saying, but she absolutely needs nothing from me. But anyways, I will not be before you guys long. I was just feeling that I need to speak on the aspect of dealing with mental health, and especially right now during these times, and even in this season, a lot of us have lost loved ones in previous years, and then the new place now that we're being advised to gather in smaller company. And no, it's not easy for any of us. I can tell you from personal experience, I am 36 years old. My mother has been gone since I was 11, and I still deal with it. I still have moments of I wish, or what would it have been like if she was here, or how would my children react, or would I even still have all these if, ands, buts, and questions, and everything that I'll never actually have an answer to. But I want to acknowledge the fact that we have those feelings. And those feelings are not going to just go away. We're going to face them at times. Sometimes they're going to be greater, and sometimes they're going to be less impactful, at least on us. But people who are dealing with mental illness, whether it is depression, anxiety, PTSD, it's not as easy to say this is just a moment. Because when you're dealing with a person who suffers from depression, for an example, it comes at different times. Whether it's raining outside, they can be happy. It can be raining cats and dogs, and it's storming, and cars can be flipped over. But something about that moment, in that moment, keyword moment, they can be happy. Or it can be the opposite, where the sun is shining and it's that barbecue weather and you got so many things going on, but you just don't feel like it. And sometimes it's not an event that causes people who deal with depression for it to affect them. Some say it's chemical imbalance. Some say it's an adjustment disorder. I just say it's something that we have to learn to find a different way to deal with it. Because covering up someone's depression or ignoring it, or for the person who's walking in it to pretend to that everything is fine, but they're not, it's not okay. It's not good. It is okay to say that I'm not okay. It's okay to reach out to someone that you trust and say, hey, I'm feeling like this, without you feeling like you have to be ashamed of the thoughts and things that may occur with dealing with mental illness. And not everyone understands it. Some understand it from the clinical point of view. Some understand it from the personal, because I live with it. And some people understand it from the places of I'm on the outside looking in, trying to be there for a person who is dealing with it. So people who have mental illness or suffer from, we like to call them chemical imbalances, it doesn't just affect them, but it affects other people around them. And I can only talk from personal experience. I have been told that, and I'm telling you, this is what they're telling me, but this is not what I claim. I have been told that I deal with major depression, PTSD, anxiety, and an adjustment disorder. I can take all those things and say, oh, woe is me. And I can just take all the medication and the pills in the world. I'm not saying don't take medicine. This is just my personal journey. I've dealt with it for so long, but I never got to the place where I was okay with it. I was always embarrassed. I was always ashamed that at times, without me being able to control it, I think differently. One day I learned to accept it. One day I learned to not accept it to the point where I allow those words or that disease to consume me, but I accepted with the place of knowing that this is not my end result. And dealing with mental illness will not define me. But what will define me is knowing my identity and where my identity comes from. So I said all that to say this. Me right now, I have stopped taking any medication that the doctor has prescribed. I just felt that I was at a place where it was giving me other symptoms and other issues that I wasn't even facing. All because of one medication that's supposed to take away this or help solve this. Well, it created this, and this was created from this and this. And after a while, it was just like, you know what? I'm done. And I heard the voice say, don't take it. And I was like, oh, you sure? And I heard it again. Don't take it. So I stopped taking them. But I stopped taking them with the realization that going cold turkey off of medication that's supposed to help me, there is going to be an effect. And it's not just going to affect me, but it affects those around me, my husband and my children, and those who care and love about me. But I made a sound decision that I'm going to practice what I preach. And if I believe that I am healed, and I believe that Christ came down from heaven to heal the whole man, not just my spirit, not just my soul, but my physical body while I have to live in it. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me to get to that place, is because when you play a victim, or you allow the victim role to consume you, you can get lost in it rather quickly. But as of today, I am learning that I'm not a victim. And the things that I have faced and have come up with, they do not define me. But the Word of God does, and who I am and who He has called me to be. But I also want to encourage those who may be dealing with these things, and you feel like you don't have an outlet. You feel like you don't have someone that can talk to you. Or you feel like when you do talk to somebody, they got that pen going. And tell me how it feels. I just told you how it felt. Right. So can you describe? And I get it. Because they're doing what has been taught to them. They're doing what they have learned. And no fault to them, but I believe that there are people out there who've experienced things pertaining to mental illness, who has now have walked through, who has grown through to a place in the capacity where they can take everything that they have learned, and all the tools and all the clinical notes, but yet life experience, to bring them to a place where they are at peace. I believe those people can help other people who are dealing with similar things, or at least be there enough to walk beside them. Not always having an answer, or not always having a rebuttal. Sometimes we just need somebody to just be there. And I also want to talk about the aspect of the person on the outside looking in. I used to feel bad for my husband because he tried his best, y'all. He tried his best to be there. But it's hard when you're in these moments of you're not being sure, and you're venting, and you're doing this, and your emotions are out of control. And he's like, well, if you just do this, and then I would respond out of anger. But then when he didn't do anything, I responded out of anger. So I had to take a step back and say, yes, I'm in this. And I'm the one that's going through this. But because I'm me, I think about how it affects them. I think about how my children respond when I allowed myself to go to that place of, in some places you can't return from. But that's why I so rely on who God is. It's because I always can come back. Because He's right there. He will never leave nor forsake me. So for my husband, it put him in a place where he thought that he couldn't help me. That he thought that he couldn't save me. And there was times where he thought, where if I just gave her the answer, I don't know how to respond. But if I don't say anything, how am I supposed to respond? So it puts them in this place of unsure and uncomfortableness. And it puts them in this mindset of, you know what, I just give up. And that's not good, because that's not what they really want to be. They really want to help you. They really want to be there for you, but they don't know how, because you don't know how. But I will say, through experience and still learning, when I allowed myself to look at my mental illness from the aspect of how my husband and those around me may see me, and not in a negative, but how it affects them, it makes me more conscious to realize when I am going towards those moments, how I can articulate those moments. And even when I can't articulate them into words, I am bold and confident enough to say, hey, I'm right there. I don't want to be here. So can you help me get back out of where I don't want to be? And that takes a lot. It at least for me, it did. It took a lot for me to ask for help, because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed, and I felt guilty. I felt like I had to be this perfect person, and that I had to look a part. I had to act a part. I had to be a part, but I couldn't live up to it. So it made me frustrated. And I'm saying all this to say, you're going to have moments, even if you are necessarily not dealing with mental illness as an everyday, a reoccurrence and what have you. But we all are going to have moments where we're going to feel down. We're all going to have moments where we're questioning, am I doing the right thing? We're all going to have those moments of the life of a storm that we call our everyday life. We all have those moments. But within those moments, don't allow those moments to consume you. And that's just what it is. It's a moment. It's something that comes and it goes. Because how I respond today may not be how I respond tomorrow. But just be open and honest enough to say, I'm in a place that I'm not okay. I want to be okay, but I'm not okay. Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to hide behind this invisible veil that you think that nobody sees. Because if there's people around you and they really love you, they're going to see it. They're going to notice that there's something different about you. Sometimes they might notice before you do. Sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know what to do. Sometimes it's okay, I just want you to sit in the room. And I know with us being in this pandemic, we are limited in the fellowship and the connections. But we have so much technology in this world, there's no excuse. There's no excuse where you can't reach out to someone and someone should be able to reach out to you. But just know that you are stronger than what the title that they have given you. You are stronger than what the title that you have even given to yourself. Find out who you are. Find out your triggers, whether it's the sun not shining, whether it's the fact that you miss your mother. Y'all, I miss my mom. I do. But I'm okay. I'm okay with those emotions. I miss my dad, and he's here, but I can't physically touch him. And that does something to me. But I won't allow that moment to consume me, where everything from here on out is based around that emotion, that feeling of missing, that feeling of loneliness. So just take the time out to reach out to a loved one, to a friend, to a family. And when they say, I'm okay, just let them know, say, hey, I know you're saying that you're okay, but I really need to know, are you okay? Even if it's as little as my pastor friend called me yesterday and said, hey, do you need anything? No, I think I got it. I get it. Well, actually, I need a gallon of milk. And her response was, hey, what kind of milk do you need? And then she brought it to me. But had I not opened up my mouth, and I know it sounds small and simple, but had I not opened up my mouth, I still wouldn't have it. And yes, my family is going to be okay with the lack of finances. Your family is going to be okay with the lack of finances, because I believe and I have an expectation that greater is coming. But it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to allow someone else to be the strength while you are in your weak moment. That's what we are here for. Whether it's a physical, whether it's mental, whether it's just sending a note through the mail. Show them that you love them now. Don't wait till they're gone and shoulda, coulda, woulda, sent them a note, but now they're not here. because they allowed their emotions to consume them to the point where the end result is now you're really missing them. So if you know someone who is dealing with mental illness, or if you know someone who seems to always be this bubbly person, but they went ghost, make it your business to reach out to them. No, you don't have to have all the answers. And for some of us who are Bible scholars, you don't always have to throw out a scripture. Sometimes the answer is within you just by you being you. So allow God to use you in the capacity that he is choosing at that moment. That word again, moment. It comes and it goes. But you know what doesn't come and doesn't go and doesn't leave, but is always there and has been there from the beginning? The love of Christ. It's been there from the moment it was spoken. And there's nothing you or I can do about it. But just know that I love you and I expect great things for you. And I expect them as if your things were my personal things. But go love on someone and see how they're doing. Check on them. Whether it's a text message, whether it's a video chat, whether it's a, I don't know if people still do it, but write a letter. Send it in the mail. If you need to know how to forward the envelope, let me know. But seriously, don't allow being isolated from people put you in a place where mentally you can't get out of it. Recognize the signs now. And then move with swiftness. So if that person was put on your heart and you thought about them or something reminds you of them, don't put it off. Reach out to them now. So, I love you guys and I want what's best for you. And we'll have more life talk with me. So yeah, God bless and make today a day to remember.